guys, welcome and welcome back to the podcast. I've been meaning to watch that. I'm your host Monica. We're back again with a new week, a new topic, a new guest I can do every single week. And this week we have a returning guest with us today. I am so happy to have her back on. Everyone please put your hands together for Alta! Yay!
Hi! Thank you so much for having me back on.
Yes, thank you for coming back on. Alta, tell people a little bit about yourself.
So, like Monica says, my name is Alta. I go by Alta's Oyster on all the social media platforms. I am a movie reviewer. I love talking about movies. I love talking about TV shows, and I love watching film through I say a sociocultural lens. I'm very interested in how movies shape our societal structure and how they reinforce certain archetypes or break certain archetypes, whether that's based on race, gender, sexuality, etc., etc. So I'm super excited to talk about the movie we're going to talk about today.
Yes, wonderful. Guys, today we're going to be talking about 40 Acres. It is a movie that I feel like kind of slipped under the radar in the year 2025, but we're going to be discussing that film today. But before we get into that, we're going to jump to our first segment, which is Media Mania, where we talk about new releases and entertainment news. And as many of you guys know, every single day in the year of our Lord 2025, there has been a new breaking story. There's been a news story that has been shaking the table, that has been making people clutch their pearls, and this week is no different. So, just to give you guys some background, for those who may or may not know, there was a shooting that happened on a campus in Utah, and the person who was affected by it was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was this conservative podcaster who was very well known for a lot of very conservative hot takes. He was known for traveling to other college campuses, having young people debate him on political views, and he was shot at the Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. It was on September 10th. And following this shooting, there have been a lot of reactions. There have been a lot of statements. There have been a lot of comments. There have been a lot of opinions. And one person that stated an opinion in regards to the shooting was Jimmy Kimmel. He is a well-known late-night host on ABC. And he had some comments about the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And this is what he said on his late night show. So, in response to Charlie Kirk's killing, he had... Hold on. Oh, yeah, okay. So, during his Monday evening monologue, Kimmel had said that Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, who was Tyler Robinson, may have been a pro-Trump Republican. And he said, the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. That's essentially what he said. And in response to this, the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, said that Kimmel's comments were truly sick and said his agency has a strong case for holding Kimmel, ABC, and the network parent Walt Disney Co. accountable for spreading misinformation. And so, in response to the comments he made, and in response to the comment from the FCC chairman, Jimmy Kimmel's late night show has been suspended indefinitely. And a group of ABC affiliated stations have said that they're not going to air the show, and it's unsure whether, when the show will come back or whether the show will come back at all. So, of course, a lot of people have been having a lot of responses, a lot of opinions in regards to this. My opinion personally is that we've already seen Trump have this disdain towards the media, and it's nothing new because he had this disdain in his previous run when he was president back in 2016. And it is a hallmark of fascism to make people distrust the media, distrust journalists, because it is their job to report on the news and report it in a fair and unbiased way, best that they can. And if there is a leader that is seeking people that report the news that makes them look good and boost their ego, and there's someone who refuses to do that, then that person is seen as the enemy of that leader, thus seen as the enemy of the state. Thus, their followers see that person as an enemy, as someone who spreads misinformation. And Jimmy Kimmel has been disliked by many MAGA followers. So his comments on Charlie Kirk being the thing that gets him off the air was surprising to me, because I felt like it was more tame in some of the things that he has said about Trump. More tame in terms of a lot of things that people have said about Trump, namely late night host. But I believe that now the right-wing MAGA crowd, because Charlie Kirk was such a pivotal tool in bringing young people to the polls in favor of Trump, and now he has been killed, they are on the path of making him something of a martyr. And anybody who speaks against Charlie Kirk, they feel like it is easier to push their agenda, that they're against Trump. And thus these people have been losing their jobs, because Jimmy Kimmel is not the first person to do it, but I feel like he's the most notable person in this example. And because he's so well known, he hosted the Oscars twice. It's just kind of oh no, we're really getting the fascism, when it's obviously happening all around us. But this whole debacle is what's waking people up to it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I've seen there are people saying this Jimmy Kimmel is the canary in the coal mine, that type of language. This is setting a precedent. I'm the precedent was already set.
Yeah.
He's just the most notable one. The most visible, and I agree. What he said was very, very tame. What he said amounted to, the person who murdered that man is just like you. That's basically what he said. I was surprised at how tame his comments were, but from what we've seen, based on the FCC chairman's tweets, they just needed an excuse, because this has been the plan all along, to get rid of him, just like they got rid of Colbert. Yeah,
you're absolutely correct in saying this. And I feel like there are many people that are seeing what's going on, and they're not really tuned in to what's going on, if you know what I mean. And Jimmy Kimmel is not the canary in the coal mine that people think that he is.
Not at all.
Not even Stephen Colbert is the canary in the coal mine.
I agree.
I like Stephen Colbert. I enjoy his show, but there have been a number of people that have lost their jobs in response to their comments about Charlie Kirk since his passing on September 10th. One person was Matthew Dowd. He is a senior political analyst on MSNBC, and he was fired after making remarks on air, which the network labeled inappropriate and insensitive. However, his remarks were not inappropriate or insensitive in any way. In fact, he was simply stating things that Charlie Kirk has said. He was simply talking about the things that Charlie Kirk has done. And this is essentially what he said on the network was, I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. You can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have, saying these awful words, and then not expect awful actions to take place. And that's the unfortunate environment we are in. And he's not false in saying that, because Charlie Kirk was very well known for saying things that are derogatory towards Black people, towards women, derogatory towards LGBTQ people. He was someone who said that, children dying in school shootings is not that big of a deal, because his philosophy was something that was steeped in apathy, because he was more focused on being right in his own political opinion rather than thinking about how his political opinion will influence others and how that will harm other people. And he also stated, in previous remarks when he was alive, that empathy is not a good thing. And now people are having empathy for him now that he has been killed. And I'm not saying you can't be sad that someone died. I'm not saying you can't mourn someone or say rest in peace. What I'm saying is that he was a right-wing podcaster who spread hateful words. And a lot of people would listen to the things that he said, and they would kind of fall in line with that. And the things he said were not constructive. They were not uplifting. They were not even informative. It was literally misinformation, and it was all steeped in hatred. And people are simply bringing up that fact. People are simply bringing up that, like, yeah, it's sad that he died. However, the life that he lived on Earth was not one that was very constructive or helpful, but he said a lot of insensitive things. And whenever people point that out, because people are pointing that out, they're losing their jobs. And this is all just like, it's all BS. Like, people are doing this, like, is they're saying, like, oh, well, you need to have an air of professionalism, blah, 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 things like that. Like, are we all going to sit here and lie and act like Charlie Kirk is Martin Luther King? Because he didn't like him either. So,
I mean, first of all, no, he's not. He's nowhere near close to be anything like MLK. But in terms of how you opened this up and talking about censorship, this was, again, in terms of canary in the coal mine, like, this was happening even before Charlie Kirk was murdered. Like, Joy Reid losing her job at MSNBC. I don't remember exactly why, but I do remember it was part of, like, bending the knee and wanting to soften how things are reported in order to please, this administration. Where there was Colbert, which was before Charlie, and I'm forgetting some others, but related to Charlie, but I think was before Jimmy Kimmel. The Washington Post reporter Karen Attia, I believe is how her last name is pronounced, also lost her job. So there has been, this is the latest, this is the biggest, I guess, most accessible, right? Because you talk about a reporter from the Washington Post. Well, not everyone reads articles, but also not everyone reads the Washington Post. Jimmy Kimmel, much like Colbert, was entertaining. It was how people wound down at the end of the day. So I understand this one being very, very visible. But even before Charlie Kirk lost his life, like, there has been this, like, silencing, like, watch how you speak, watch what you say. And I don't know how much further it's going to go, but if anything, by the FCC chairman's glee at Kimmel being suspended indefinitely, like, I think there's more to come. So
yeah, and this thing with, like, Joy Reid, MSNBC canceled the readout February 2025, and in Deadline, it said that, multiple outlets report that, like, the decision was a lineup change, and they said it was low ratings. That was a factor. I don't think ratings was a reason. I believe that MSNBC, I think they went under a new parent company. That may have been one of the reasons why. And it was a parent company that was leaning away from, like, DEI, which is a reason why Joy Reid lost her show. But then again, this also happened to Melissa Harris Perry in 2016. Like, February 2016, she lost her show. MSNBC cut ties with her. But before that, she had sent an internal email about, like, certain things in regards to her show. They're trying to change certain things, like what she talked about, the things that she covered, and she said that she's not going to host under those kind of conditions. And essentially MSNBC was like, okay, well then you're not going to have a show anymore, girl. Like, that was basically it. And they said that they framed it as a programming decision amid election season coverage. And it's ironic that, like, Melissa Harris Perry, a black woman, loses her show February 2016, and then Joy Reid, another black woman, loses her show February 2025. Like, what's going on here? MSNBC, what's up? I mean,
Joyanne Reid doesn't believe it was because of ratings. Of course not.
Of course not.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with Joyanne Reid's ratings. Like, if you look at the numbers that she pulls on YouTube now, and you look at, like, her social media numbers, I don't think ratings was the issue. Not at all. And with Stephen Colbert, his show was set to end May or June. It's set to end May or June 2026. And he's always been critical of Trump for, like, the longest. And another thing I want to say is that, like, yes, it is bad that these people are losing their jobs because they're being critical of a leader who is sending this country straight to fascism. Someone who is acting like a dictator, someone who's imposing total power and total rule over citizens, someone who is sending the National Guard into DC, who is sending it to Chicago, who's sent to Los Angeles, who is putting more money into recruiting people for ICE and rounding people up in unmarked vans rather than putting money into our education, into jobs, into, the sectors in the country that like need money, that need help. This is the leader. That is what he's focused on. And people are speaking up about this and talking about this. But at the same time, the people who are speaking about this are like established Democratic voices. You know what I mean? Like, of course they're going to like critique Trump, like Stephen Colbert and like Joy Ann Reid. But there wasn't much critique for like Joe Biden with like the genocide in Gaza, and how a lot of young people were very upset about that and very vocal about that. And although I don't watch Stephen Colbert like every night, I do know that he's very much just like kind of like a straight down the middle kind of guy. You know what I mean? And I feel like there are a lot of people, because they, the way they consume news, the way they know about like what's happening in the world, is on a very surface level basis. They'll kind of make Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert out to be like these, I don't know, they're gonna make them like the heads of the revolution or something. Like Katniss Everdeen, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna make them into a Mockingjay, so to speak. And it's like, yeah, it's bad that they lost their show due to censorship, but like when they were on the air, there was nothing really revolutionary about what they were talking about. They were just doing their jobs, so to speak. And I'm not saying that like, we shouldn't talk about how this is bad, or maybe like we shouldn't see them as like, they're influential people, obviously, but like I'm not gonna sit here and act like Stephen Colbert is Fred Hampton, or you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, I don't think anybody black is gonna be saying like he was anything like Fred Hampton. Yeah. But it is bad, and a bad, not omen, because like it's happened before, but I guess it's a bad norm that is being established, especially since we're less than a year. People are going to have a lot more to say about, like you said, like every day is unprecedented. So like there's going to be more news for people to talk about and more news for people to tell the truth about. And I think the thing with Colbert and Kimmel is like, it's in every sector, no matter what sector you work in. Whether, like, for example, like the government workers who have been the top lieutenants and like who have been getting let go because they're women, because they're black. Whether it's that sector or Hollywood, like entertainment, whatever it is, like they're reaching everywhere and plucking people out and replacing it with what they want. And so I don't. It's like it doesn't matter what Kimmel. Well, I guess it does matter what Kimmel and Colbert were talking, because if they were like praising, you know what I mean? If they were bowing down in a sense, like they would still have their shows, but they weren't, and that's the issue. Because like people criticize presidents all the time, like that's pretty much tradition. God knows all they had to say about Obama when he was president, but that's no longer acceptable, which is alarming.
Yeah. I fear that ABC may give Theo Von a show, and if it comes to that, Theo Von, he's a podcaster. He's a comedian. He's fairly popular, but he had Trump on his show, and he has like a very much like bro, like fraternity kind of vibe, like 18 to 36 white male audience. Like he's got a trucker hat, he's got like a mullet, like that's his whole thing. He's just a white guy. He's just like, that's just his whole. I don't know. I've never heard of him. Really?
I've never heard of him.
I've only seen him in passing. I don't think I've ever watched his podcast or interacted with him in any way. But like, I fear that ABC, like one of Trump's like favorite social media influencers, is about to get Jimmy Kimmel's spot. You know what I mean? Like we're going to start seeing a rise in TV shows or late night shows or talk shows where the baseline of what's talked about is things that lean more towards conservative values or more conservative talking points, and they're not just going to leave it, shepherd in on Fox News, because Fox News, they've been making a lot of money. Like they got Super Bowl commercials and everything now. Like they pop it up everywhere. Like they used to be like, oh, that show that like your uncle watches, and now that network is like they're riding on Trump's coattails like straight to the bank. You know what I mean?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yes, but we'll see how it develops. I'm sure there have been many people that have like many different opinions in regards to what's happened to Jimmy Kimmel. And I don't really have any like closing thoughts. To be very honest, I don't have a strong opinion on Jimmy Kimmel as a person. I don't think I ever disliked him. I am aware that he had a show called like The Man Show back in the 90s. But, like, when you look back at it, it's like, okay, it's clear that he's just, like, some 20-year-old who got, like, some money, and, like, he's friends with the producer, and they're able to do, like, some stupid show that they put on TV or whatever. Like, that's not who he is anymore. But also, I know it's important for us to, say that censorship is bad. Losing your show because you are correctly critiquing the news and what's going on around you, like losing your job because you're doing your job, ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
But I also want to say, Jimmy Kimmel, that man is set for life. Like he's not, some regular schmegular Joe. He's Jimmy Kimmel. He's one of the most well-known late night hosts. I'm pretty sure he's gonna be okay. And even if he never goes back on TV again, he may just start a podcast, because that's what everyone seems to be doing. And I'm sure if he does start a podcast, he'll be doing perfectly fine on there. HeadGum will happily pick up his call. So,
do you know? I've seen people say like, everyone's talking about Jimmy because of course he was the host, but for both him and Colbert, do you know if their whole crew has to, or will their crew be kept on by the company, or like is it just them, or is it their entire crew that?
Well, the thing is that like with Colbert, his show ends in 2026, so he's still on the air. Jimmy Kimmel, his show was pulled, which means like the day he found out his show was pulled was like, I think maybe it was Thursday. And that means that like people who were flying in to be on his show were figuring out that like, hey, you don't need to go to New York no more because there's nothing for you to do there. Jimmy Kimmel does not have a show anymore. And like Guillermo, who is the Hispanic man who's on his show, like his band. He also has another announcer, Lou Wilson, who like works for Dropout in not College Humor, Dimension 20. Like he also lost his job. So essentially like his whole crew, like they ain't got no work. They don't work there. They don't have jobs. That's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is terrible and, very devastating. But it's important for us to continue to speak truth to power and just be real about what's going on. Like, we cannot, give up in advance of what's happening, because if we do that, then we're just laying on our backs and be like, just let it happen. Just let it go. Like, we cannot resort to apathy. We still need to be informed. We still need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to be real about what's going on. Like, don't feel pressured to like fall in line with what the administration wants you to believe or wants you to think or wants you to act, because honey, you may be running things around here, but you don't run things around here. Okay? All right. So that's going to wrap it up for Media Mania. Those are all their thoughts in regards to Jimmy Kimmel and him losing his job. So we're going to go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of the podcast. We're going to dive in to 40 Acres. Now, this movie is so incredible, and I'm very happy to get the chance to talk about it with you, Alta. 40 Acres, it is a 2024 Canadian post-apocalyptic thriller. And it starts 14 years after a fungal pandemic that wipes out 98% of animal life. So now the most valuable thing you can have is farmland. So the movie follows a family that is led by Haley Freeman, played by Danielle Deadwyler. She is an ex-soldier, and she enforces, an isolation policy for her family after her father was murdered by other farmers in their community, and their farmland is tended by her son and her two stepdaughters, and her husband and their children. They take care of the farmland, they take care of their crops, and essentially they have a rule where like we just worry about our family and everybody else can worry about their own family. So the movie is definitely a different take on a doomsday thriller, because a lot of times when you watch like a doomsday thriller, I think that people are more focused on like monsters and like zombies, and like the action and stuff like that. But to have a thriller where farmland is key, and like growing your own like fruits and vegetables, tending to your livestock is what's keeping you alive, it's definitely very interesting, and I feel like it's a different spin on a doomsday thriller, and I enjoyed it mainly because like I have a mother who loves to garden, who loves to grow things. So when I was watching this, I was like, if this ever happens, I'm so good, because our backyard is full of vegetables, so I don't even have to worry about it. I'm okay. Like, we don't have any like livestock because we live in the suburbs, so we can't be having no chickens or goats in our backyard. What I mean? Like, not that we have an HOA, but somebody's gonna come down to our house and be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, is there an animal in your backyard?" Like, and if I say no, are you gonna leave? Like, is that a no? But I love that spin on the doomsday thriller, because it's something that encourages something. It encourages a more communal approach to the end of the world, and something that is a lot more proactive, rather than something that is so nihilistic and doom and gloom and sad. Because a lot of doomsday thrillers are very like isolationist in nature, but this is isolationist in a different way, where it's like protecting a family rather than just like protecting your own skin.
Yeah.
What were your initial thoughts on the movie when you first watched it?
I enjoyed 40 Acres. I thought it was very exciting as a movie. I mean, I reviewed it after I saw it. I ultimately gave it because I do my ratings out of 5. Ultimately gave it a 3 out of 5, and we'll talk about why. But I think they had a lot of very exciting parts. I think it was thrilling, which is something I always say when I go see thriller. When I review thrillers, I'm like, it was thrilling. And I agree it was different. What I'm thinking about is like, usually with these doomsday thrillers, they tend to be very white. And so, and I think one thing that a joke that I've heard people say is that like in these post-apocalyptic movies that tend to be white, it's like, where are the black people? What happened to them? They're being isolationists. That's what so I'm sure somewhere there's a white family in the world, in the universe of 40 Acres that's like having an adventure or whatever. But it was great to see. I love the tying the family to the land, like the land being so important, and kind of I don't know, not retribution, but like a justice aspect. Like that family made it. This Black and Indigenous family, mixed family, they made it. They are surviving. They actually have the most precious thing in this story, which is that farmland to sustain them.
Yeah, and you are right. A lot of thrillers are like, they do have like mainly white audiences, like a mainly white cast, and you have to ask yourself like, where do black people at? And it makes sense that like the black people be minding their business, like, hey, you know what, y'all got it, you're good, you want to play around in this doomsday playground, that's fine, keep it on your playground, not mine. Okay, we're okay over here, we're good over here. And me personally, one thing I liked a lot about the movie, something I liked, something I didn't really like, is like Haley, because I think that she's obviously very headstrong, but also like there is a certain how do you say this? There's a certain archetype when it comes to people who are like doomsday preppers. You know what I mean? And it usually is like white people or like some couponing mom. And to have the protagonist be a black woman who was like ex-military, she left her son with her father. And then when she came back, she went from one war zone to another. And it can be difficult when somebody like leaves, a combat zone and re-enters like civilian life. it can be hard to make that adjustment because you don't really know how to interact when every day isn't like do or die, life or death. But now that her reality has become like do or die, life and death, very much a doomsday thriller in her everyday life, she's adjusted to it very well. But her kids haven't, not really. Like, I feel like the oldest son, he still kind of remembers what life was like before all this happened, and because his siblings are a little bit younger, they're like more adjusted to it because they don't know anything outside of like living on the farmland, taking care of the animals, taking care of the crops, you know, like just the family, and like that's it. Like the son, the brother, he's used to something different because he remembers how his life was previously, so he's a little rebellious. You know what I mean? Because there's always that one. And Haley, or Danielle Deadwyler, I feel like she does such a good job of just like being like that mom. You know, like that mom who's like really strict, but also like she's an ex-soldier. And also she has to like maintain this family. And she's also like the protagonist of the movie. Like she wears so many hats in this film, but she does it so well. And it's different from how you would watch other doomsday thrillers where like the leader is someone who's like very smart, very resourceful, but ultimately like kind of a prick. And Danielle Deadwyler, she's not exactly warm and fuzzy.
No, not by a long shot.
No, but she's still like, you could tell like there is love in like what she says. There's still some kind of like nurturing. How do I say this? There is like the intention to nurture. There's an intention to show care and to show love and to show affection. But it's not in a way where it's so warm and it's like hugs and everything. It's a way where it's like, I'm being honest with you and being real with you because I want to protect you. Because that's how I show that I love you. Because I need you here with me. Like, I need you on your game.
I actually don't see her as nurturing at all.
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
I think it's very much military, very much prepping. And so I think the philosophy of the like, I'm going to be hard on you because the world is going to be harder on you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, like, I hope you didn't like prompt me to say anything because I legit lost my connection somehow. So I came back in just as you were saying like this. Okay, good. Yeah. But yeah, I don't see her as nurturing. She's very much like, I need to prepare you to be able to survive in this world when I'm gone. And so, which I think is one of the lack of nurturing and the strictness is, of course, one of the issues that her son has with her, because I think the son is a symptom of like, I'm not even sure it's because he remembers how it was before. Because I don't remember how old he was when the world went to hell, basically. But I think it's a case of like, he takes for granted how much danger there is because that's all he knows. And I think it speaks a little bit to his level of comfortability in the post-apocalyptic world. It's all he knows. And so he flouts his mom's rules and he just wants better and go beyond the farm. But it's like, it's very dangerous out there, but he doesn't see it that way because that's all he knows. So like, he doesn't, even though he was alive in the before, most of his memories is in the after. And so he takes for granted that he does need to prepare himself for when his mom is no longer there to lead, and his stepfather to lead the family.
Yeah. And I will say it's ironic that she says, she essentially has this attitude of like you said, I'm going to be hard on you because the world's going to be harder. And the son does take it for granted. And like, as I was watching the movie, in my head, I was just thinking like, the son really needs to get it together because we're literally living in the midst of an apocalypse. And I understand that you want to fight with your mom and you want to go back and forth with your mom, but there's a difference between doing it, and this is just like a coming of age movie, and doing it a doomsday thriller. Like, bro, she's ex-military. She knows what she's talking about. And when I'm watching the movie, like, I get what you're saying, like, you don't feel like she's nurturing, like, yes, but also, remember, like, she definitely had that baby before she went into, like, the army, or went to
deployed or what,
yeah. So, in my mind, like, obviously watching the movie, I'm like, okay, she had this baby, but she doesn't know how to raise a baby, she doesn't know how to be nurturing, she doesn't know how to be, like, a caring mother, or to be, like, motherly, so she went, to combat, and then she came back, and because she came back, like, after, like, the pandemic happened, and, like, there was a disease that wiped out all the animals, and, like, farmland is the most, like, valuable thing you can have. Now she has come back into this like scenario where like she knows what to do. She knows how to handle this. She knows how to manage the situation. Raising a kid, not so much. You know what I mean? But raising a soldier, or like, you know, commanding somebody or being in charge of someone, she can do that just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say like what you started saying before I don't know what happened. Before I cut off, before my internet, whatever. Mm-hmm. When you were saying that she was in combat, or this part of the military, I don't know if there was a war happening like before, but whatever. But she went from that, let's say, traumatic work environment, came home and boom, everything goes to crap. It's like she kind of stayed in her comfort zone of dealing with trauma and dealing with disaster and dealing with fighting, like surviving. Yeah, and I think in that sense of her, you see her as nurturing. She doesn't lean into it as much. I don't think she's nurturing at all. But in the sense of what we're both saying, that I think that's why Galen, her husband, is a good balance to her, because we do see him being soft with the kids. We didn't get to see much interaction between him and the son.
Yeah.
But we do see him like joking around and making the girls laugh. And so I have my issues with the way the family was portrayed. But yeah, so I think in that way he was a good balance and to her in terms of interactions with the kids, even though he himself was also a badass.
Yes. And I think Galen is I think you're absolutely right. Galen is a really great contrast. He does add a lot of balance because she's like the steely matriarch, and although he is like the patriarch and he is like, you know, a proud indigenous man and he is a proud warrior, he is a lot like softer in a way. Like he seems to be someone who is easy to manage, like more like conversational issues, you know what I mean? And she'll handle issues of something where it's like a lot more of like directional things like that. I liked Galen a lot. I do like his daughters as well. I thought they were very sweet. And when I was watching the movie, like when I saw them like walking around with the guns, I was like, "Ooh, take that gun away from that baby." But in my head, it's like, Monika, it's okay. Like it's part of the film. It's part of the movie. It's part of the ambiance, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think it does speak to like a conversation people have a lot about, like, you know, gun ownership and like gun control and like what you should have in order to protect yourself, because there are those people that have just like a room full of guns. The thing is, I live in Georgia, so like I've met many of people who know how to, you know, carry a gun, shoot a gun, who like walk around with that thing on them. They have it in their car, they have it on their person. Like I've walked into a Kroger and I've seen someone walk past me with a gun on their hip. You know what I mean? Like it's commonplace here. So when I'm watching it in the movie, it's not like it's something that's like, oh, like I clutch my pearls, but like at the same time, it's so interesting to watch the film, to watch this movie, because there are people who own a lot of guns, and in their mind they're like, oh, when things start, you know, getting crazy and getting wild, or like, oh, when things start to turn up, when the Civil War happens, I'm gonna be ready, I'm gonna be locked and loaded, I'm gonna be ready. And like nobody, and like I think people, when they think of like, ooh, a Civil War, they think of a World War Z, like something like that, like something, a lot of action, people running, people hiding, people shooting at each other, like they think it's gonna be all that. And it could very much be something where it's like, now I'm going to stay in my house and mind my business, and as long as you don't cross the property line, you ain't gonna get these bullets. It could be very much just that, because it, you know,
it could very much be like in the sense of like defense as opposed to offense, which is what you think about when you think about like end of the world type of stuff.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people, when they think of the end of the world, they think it's their time to like play Call of Duty IRL. And then there are more people that just want to mind their business and live their life. And like, if you come near me, if you try something, then we're going to have issues. And this family is very much like that. Where it's like, we have our land, we have our gate, we got our cameras, we got our walkie-talkie, we have everything we need. We don't need to interact with nobody. We don't need to invite nobody on here, none of that. So if you cross this line, you're going to eat these bullets. You know? Which I can agree with wholeheartedly. Yeah. Okay. So I do have some questions for you in regards to the movie. All right. So I'm curious, what do you think about like the performances in this film in terms of like Haley or Danielle Deadwyler, and then like Galen, and of course like her son. I think that one thing about this film is that there's a lot of like moral ambiguity to it. You know what I mean? Because like the family has to protect their farmland, they have to protect their crops. So in the beginning of the film, there are this group of people that are like stalking through their corn, and they're trying to get them. So essentially, like, they kill all these men. You know what I mean? And if you're somebody, like we see so much online, where it's like, oh, you can't kill people, you can't shoot people, like, oh, that's bad, all this stuff. Like, there are people who are, like, very, like, they act like pacifists now. Like, suddenly people are everyone's a peace-loving person, suddenly.
Yeah.
But, like, in this film, it's very much, like, do or die, like, you're in the wrong place, buddy. So, yeah, I'm about to put you in the right place, which is in the ground, because you're messing with the wrong one. You know, I want to get your take, like, which person do you feel like in the cast carries moral ambiguity the best in their performance?
You talking about in terms of in the characters, like
which the character? Yeah, their character, their actions, their intentions. You know.
Okay, so first of all, I think I missed the first 5 or 10 minutes of this movie when I went to see it. But as far as ambiguity, I honestly don't see any of them as morally ambiguous. I think I would characterize Haley, like the two adults, right? Haley and Galen, as very not logical, but just like, I can't think of the right word, but like they have not, like you said, they have nothing against nobody as long as people stay away from them. I think the character who wants to be most connected to the world is the son, and I'm not remembering his name. I'd have to look at my notes, but like he has more of the like, this is the right thing to do type of morality, whereas Haley and Galen are more like, you know, only God can judge me, basically.
Yeah, the son's name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, yeah. The parents are like, only God can judge me. Like it's almost like morality. They're not like, morality is a very like communal thing, and they don't have a community. The only community is themselves. Morality is a very societal thing. And although there's a little bit of a societal structure, and I wish there was more societal structure set up, but they're isolationists. And so their only morality is wrapped around themselves. And we see Emmanuel wanting to strike out beyond that and have a more global, and I use the term global just generally, like a more global politic, we can say, a globally based morality that's about helping other people. Because in a sense, I would say Emmanuel in his naivete actually has an abundance mindset where it's like, we have all, and it's naive, like we have all this stuff, we can help other people. Meanwhile, Haley's like, we need to help ourselves. And honestly, when you invite other people, you do end up depleting your own resources. But he's like, we're strong enough to handle it, you know? But so, yeah, I don't see any of them as morally ambiguous. I think the adults know firmly where they stand morally speaking, which is like us over everyone else. Emmanuel's figuring it out, but his morality is very much in helping your fellow man so that, you know, basically we're stronger together type of morality. What do you think? Do you see moral ambiguity in them, in any of the characters?
I feel like with Haley, I do see moral ambiguity there, because with her actions, me personally, like, I agree with Haley more than I agree with Emmanuel, or like Manny, as like she nicknamed him, because Manny, like you said, he's naive. It's because he's young.
Yeah.
And he, you know, thinks that like, oh, we should just share the wealth and like we should share resources. And like me personally, I see where he's coming from, and like I would be like that too, but because his mother is like older and has more experiences, and she understands like the mindset that all these other people have, like, yeah, we could open up these doors and we could share the wealth and we could help other people, like we could do that just fine. But then again, we won't have enough for ourselves. We may let some people in who want to hurt us, who want to harm us. And also, we really do have to take care of our family. Like, this family has to come first, because you let one person in, they let somebody else in, and they let somebody else in. We're not running a halfway house. This is our land. This is our home. We have to protect our family. Like, blood comes first. Like, blood runs thicker than water. And, like, I feel like with Haley, like, she's not, you know, against the people on the outside, because you see that she communicates with Augusta, who is, you know, a woman that isn't that far from where they are. And she is, like, she still communicates with other farmers around the country. Yeah.
To add to that, Augusta made a comment of, like, you could come train them. So Haley has trained other people. I think maybe the kids that Augusta had. So she has stepped out and helped, but she just don't want nobody in her house.
Mm-hmm. I think that Haley is morally ambiguous because, like, I don't see her as a bad person per se. She is, in the way that she's acting, yes, it's selfish, and yes, it's isolationist. And, like, could she open up her doors to help more people? Yeah, but I see where she's coming from, where, like, you know, opening the doors or, like, being a little more inviting with other people, it's also could invite in the wrong people, because you don't know who these people are. Because in the state that the world is in, like, people are a lot more desperate, and they're a lot more willing to, like, they've abandoned their morals because they're focused on survival, because they're focused on their own selves. So if there are people out there who are focused on taking care of themselves in the way where they will hurt others, she wants to take care of her family in a way where it will protect them. And if other people, like, can't get in, the other people can't get in. She's not harming other people by doing this, but she's just making sure that her people are good. So I feel like it's morally ambiguous because, like, she's not being Mr. Rogers, but, like, she is trying to take care of those that she loves, the people she loves, and the people that are closest to her, to make sure, like, you know, nothing befalls them.
So 2 things I want to say. Number 1, because you said, like, sure, like, Haley's stance is selfish. I actually don't think she's selfish. I don't think she's selfish for the same reason that I don't think Grace from Sinners is selfish. Both of these women are parents. And I feel like when it's a parent doing what they need to do for their child, that's inherently not selfish. They're literally looking out for someone who's more vulnerable than them. And so, like, 1, Grace was doing what she was doing for her family, for her kids. And 2, to what you said, I didn't walk away from this movie thinking Grace was wrong. Like, even by the end, I didn't think Manny was right. And I do think it's notable that the people they end up taking in are children as opposed to adults. But, like, one of my critiques of this movie is that, like, Manny was not a good foil for Grace. Yes, he's a kid. I do like that he still had a, like you said, like, this isn't a coming of age movie, but I do like that he still had to come of age because he's growing up. But I don't think he was a good foil because I don't think he put up a good argument. You know what I mean? Like, yes, objectively, he's right. They do have a lot, but I still think Haley had the right idea in the end of just, like, let's not bring anybody in. And yeah, her mindset needed to change because this is a story we need to end in a different place than we started. And she knew Augusta, and, you know, she lost a friend in that way. But I think I wish that there would have been a better reason for us to get to the end, to where we got, rather than Manny liking a girl and, like, you know, like, I just found that very, like, boring and uninteresting. Like Manny himself, like, I don't think, or maybe not something more than just him. Like, we could have had that and something in additional, but I don't think he was a good foil.
I'm not gonna lie, when that girl first appeared at the lake, I was like, it's always a woman. It's always a woman. It's always a woman. You better wink.
The other thing too is that, like, not only that's the other part is that, like, it was so obvious.
Yeah.
You were just waiting for him to catch up.
Oh,
so my whole theater was just like, here we go. Wink, like, open your eyes.
So dumb. So dumb. Oh my gosh. Like, when he brought that girl into the bar and, like, tied her up, I was like, you need to let that girl go. Yeah. Let her go. Like,
yeah.
also, when that girl was, like, she was getting upset and angry at him. I was like, yeah, girl, you better tell him. Because he is it's like, oh my gosh. It feels like one of those things where, like, incels are like, imagine you're alone. It's the end of the world. And you have to choose between, like, a supermodel and a lunch lady. Who are you going to choose? Like, it feels like one of those situations where it's like, now, why is this pretty girl just running around the woods somewhere? Like, this feels like a setup.
Hello!
This feels like a setup.
First of all, also, y'all are in this post-apocalyptic, dangerous world. Why do you not think she knows you're there? You're watching her take a bath in the lake.
Why are you taking a bath in the lake? Why don't you have a shower?
You don't think that's suspicious? Because I think she knew she was there. Weird? She knew he was there.
Of course she knew he was there.
Yeah,
he always goes there.
Yeah, like, man.
You're so dumb, Manny. What are you doing? Oh my god.
And my thing is that, like, not a good foil for Haley. And the thing is, he's her child. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, your children are going to test you and push you. But I found Manny, because Grace kept, why do I keep calling her Grace? Haley kept building him up like, you're going to take over. Like, and I'm like, he's mediocre. His sister, Rain, was better and more talented.
His sister was ready.
She was ready.
She was prepared.
Yeah. When she was
in that bunker, she was ready.
She was where Haley was trying to drag Manny to be. She was already there.
Yeah.
She was already there.
That happens a lot where, like,
the son.
Yeah, the son is somehow the de facto leader.
Yeah.
And, like, he don't want to be the leader. He don't want to do it. He don't want it for real. Like, he's not about that action. No. And I think, like, Manny, you know, to be honest, I feel like I have a lot of good things to say about Manny as a character. And it's not that, like, I didn't like him, but I feel like he was just kind of a little flat. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Manny feels like just kind of like an ordinary guy, a regular guy, which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But, you know, his only real turning point is, like, finding a pretty girl. His mom almost kills the girl. He has to protect his mom. Like, oh, I realized my mom was right the whole time. Oh, you know what I mean? But, like, besides that, like, I don't think that Manny really gets a really interesting run. Because he kind of gets the same thing that, like, a lot of male characters get in a Doomsday movie. Like, for some reason, there's always a romance. For some reason, there's always some random hot girl. There's always some, like, you know, love interest that's just, like, kind of, like, shoehorned in there. Like, do we need this?
Okay, so thank you for saying that, because another one of my gripes with this movie is the lack of, because like you said, there's always a romance. There's always, like, it's part of, and I hate when it's shoehorned. I hate that it's done as, like, a reward for the mediocre male character, but I don't discard romances because I know it's a good way to explore characters and add another dimension to them. I do get that. It's just that sometimes they do no justice to the female character. I do have a gripe with the fact that with the way that Haley and Galen are written, in the sense that, like, okay, I read an interview with the director where he was like, you know, he was intentional about having a Black and Indigenous couple because of the whole land thing, Black people experiencing, like, denial of land ownership, and Indigenous people experiencing land theft from the colonizers. But I have a huge issue with Haley Strong. She's pretty much the strong Black woman. She's strong, and yes, her and Galen are together, which took me a while to realize they're together, but there is kind of no tenderness between them. We see Manny and his little light-skinned love interest, you know, getting the romance. I wish there had been more between Haley and Galen, and I think it would have been a good thing to show another side of Haley as opposed to just the military commander who just wants to whip her kids into shape. I do critique the movie for that only because it's pretty tropey in that sense of, like, we don't get to see this Indigenous man who we rarely get to see Indigenous representation. We don't get to see him as a romantic, like, doing romantic things. We're just told he's her partner, and we don't get to see the strong Black woman. Yes, she's loved, but it's pretty sterile. and the way that they're with each other. And we can't say like, well, it's because, it's post-apocalyptic, but I think like you can do anything when you're writing, and I wish they would have included that. And also, I don't think Manny's the only one who suffers from the writing in terms of being fleshed out. I actually think that all of the family, except for Haley, suffers from. I think they all could have used more fleshing out, especially the other two daughters, right? No, three daughters. Wasn't there there was a little girl. It's Rain, who is Galen's kid. It's the one who got shot. It's the one who got shot, and there's a little girl. They have three girls.
No, they have two. Dawn and Rain.
That's it?
Yeah.
I could have sworn. Are you sure? Because there's a scene where Galen gets on his knee and is speaking in his native tongue to a younger girl.
Oh, yeah. There are three.
Yeah.
My bad.
See? And you forgot. Because they're not, I think, the most fully fleshed out and most clear character is Haley. And I think the writing kind of falls victim to the fact that she is the matriarch and she kind of is overbearing, that as a result, the other characters don't really get to stand out. And it's most unfortunate in Manny's case because he is her foil and is the reason why, we get into the stuff that we get.
Yeah, I feel like there are times where you watch a film, you're watching a movie, and it's very clear that, like, I don't want to say, like, there are films when they're writing it, the intention is like, okay, this character is the most fleshed out. Mm-hmm. They have the strongest, like, backstory. They have a firm foundation. Like, this is the lead character, so we need somebody who's very, very strong, who can carry this film and, like, push this film and make this film remarkable. And, like, Danielle Deadwyler being cast in the lead is, like, great, but of course, like, she is an incredible actress, and, like, Kelly Freeman is an incredible character, but you're right. She is the most fleshed out of the characters. Like, besides, Manny getting, like, his little, girlfriend, and then Danis, his sister, like, going through her ceremony and everything, like, the other characters are just kind of, they're not as fleshed out. Like, Rain and Dawn, they also have, like, time in the film, but, like, they don't get as much time as Manny does. And you are right, like, I did not know that Haley and Galen were together until they were sitting there cuddled up at the fire, and I was oh, I didn't realize that.
Thank you. So it wasn't just me.
And, like, the thing is, like, you don't have to, there are different ways to show affection. There are different ways to show that someone is together. Like, you don't have to put in an unneeded, like, sex scene or whatever, because I feel like some directors and some writers feel like, oh, let's just throw that in there. Like, give something for the, the men to watch. You know what I mean? Something for the it's just, that's annoying. Like, you don't need to do that, all that. But, like, there are ways to show that, like, a couple is together, or, like, two people are a couple in a way where, like, there's love there. And I think it's possible that we didn't see Galen and, like, Haley be, like, affectionate with one another because, like, maybe it's another nod at the fact that, like, Haley is so, I don't want to use this word, but, like, it seems like she's very deficient when it comes to, like, any kind of, like, emotional response other than, like, like, being stern and being, like, angry and being direct. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's why I'm wondering, like, how did they even get together?
Out of necessity.
Haley would just be like, okay, we had a wrong, now go away. You know what I mean?
I honestly feel like it was out of necessity. Like, he knows how to shoot. I know how to farm and shoot, so...
Yeah, but she carried 2 children.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just like...
Yeah. Like,
you
need soldiers. You need working hands.
Oh my God. And so she sacrificed her body?
Yeah.
That is insane.
Well, like, there are those women where, like, they go to war and they'll be businesswomen, but at the same time, like, I'll have a baby. Like, I'll have a kid. Like, you see, like, this may not be a good example, but, like, you'll see celebrities that, like, live a lavish lifestyle and they still become parents. And it's like, why are you having kids? Why are you doing that? It's like, because I want to have kids, because it's normal. Like, having children, getting married, having a family, like, that's, like, oh, this is a fault thing you do. And then everything else just comes after it. Which is why she had his 2 kids. Because she was like, yeah, I mean, I'll have your kids. Like, whatever. You know, it's like...
I don't see her like that.
I mean, she has 4 kids.
I'm only saying that because of the lack of... Because it's like, if you're not going to be sentimental at all, except for like almost cuddling on that bench. Like,
not every woman who has children is doing it with motherly intentions. You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. Like, she's doing
it for working hands.
What'd you
Somebody
say?
needs working hands.
That is true. It is. They do have a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gotta learn how to pick up a gun. You know? That's why. And I do also think, like, with Manny, I feel like Manny feels like such, like, a normal person. And that's not, like, a bad thing. But Manny has this reluctance to get with the program. You know what I mean? Like, we're in the middle of the end of the world. You know, we're built, like, you just saw a bunch of people come on your family's farm.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all had to shoot them dead because they came with the intention of killing you and taking your food, taking your livestock. You know what I mean? And he's still on some, well, let's all sing Kumbaya and, like, come together. Like, that's not wrong, but, like, Manny, like, turn this on. Do you not see what's going on here?
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I said in my review, which is that, like, Manny has no instincts. Like, literally has no, like, and that's, like, he's very normal. Like you said, there's nothing special about him. Like, he's not a better shot than anybody else. Like, has no talent. Again, like, I understand that, like, kids are gonna kids. Like, he's still growing up and he wants more, not from the world, but and the thing is, I think if Haley was a bit less strict, he might not have rebelled as hard as he did in terms of, like, inviting someone else. But, like, yeah, he has no instinct whatsoever. And so it's like he doesn't even acknowledge, or maybe he did, that, like, yeah, like, the world is dangerous, but we could do more. I don't know. I mean, not I don't know, but, like, I don't remember. But I do agree with you that, like, one of the kind of faults with Manny is that he doesn't seem to acknowledge. It's like he's not taking it seriously enough. Again, that kind of makes sense because this is normal to him in a way. He could have been better written, I think.
Yeah, I feel like with Haley as the matriarch and the leader of the family, she is not someone to easily trust other people, and she's not someone who will give mercy, you know, like, very easily. And that's why when he had that girl tied up in that barn, I was like, why would you hide her in a place where everybody goes? In the big barn where everybody goes. And he was, like, pleading and crying with his mom, like, don't kill her. I was like, she gonna die. She gonna die. That girl gonna die. Like, you really... I
love that. First of all, the scene where Haley comes into the barn was my favorite scene of the movie. I loved the way that was shot. It was the most tense part of the movie, where, like, she's dancing in slow-mo, and then you see the look on Manny's face change because his mama is in the building. I also love that we got to see Haley... Because up until that point, they've been telling us who Haley is. She's very strict. She doesn't see for that. But watching her, like, literally pop a bullet into the ground because she's trying to get information out of Dawn, I think her name was, I think went great towards backing up what they've been telling, you know, showing us the kind of person that she is.
Yeah. And for me, I feel like Manny, like, bro, you don't take your mom seriously. You know what I mean? Like, you see her as, like, oh, that's my mom. Oh, she's just being strict. Like,
I mean, basically.
We need to look at the social, political, economic climate that we're in. Like, sir, there are people dying. What? Yeah.
And I think part of the problem, on one hand, it's like, what else do you need to know, Manny? Like, it's supposed to. But I think, again, it shows a flaw with the do as I say because I said so type of parenting, as opposed to being allowed to let your kids, or allowing your kids to ask questions and challenge you a little bit. Haley parented like she was parenting soldiers, but no, you're parenting your son, and your kids don't tend to see you as infallible. They tend to see you basically as you don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah.
Yes, very true, very true. So I do want to talk about the Black and Indigenous like split between the family because, like you said, the director talked about how he wanted specifically to be like a Black and Indigenous family, going back to like land rights and land ownership, and I thought that was a really great instinct for the director. Also, because like the film is called 40 Acres, so that basically tells you like, girl, this has something to do with land. You know what I mean? And I really enjoyed that part of the movie because there are a lot of times where you're watching a film and it's clear from like the trailer or from the synopsis of the movie that this is meant to be like hard-hitting political commentary. And I always give a film a chance to kind of like present its argument in full before making my opinion, because there are times where people make movies simply to like make a statement or like to like have an opinion about something, and the film falls short because they're so focused on trying to be political that everything else just like kind of falls by the wayside. But I think this movie did a really great job of not trying to be political outright, but presenting a family that is in a situation where you can understand the certain nuances and the certain implications that are like connected to this family. Like, this is a Black Indigenous family where they own guns and they walk around with guns. They know how to shoot guns. And for Black people, owning guns can be something that's not as encouraged, or it's something that's not as easily accessible to you, because like a white man walks into a store, he gets a gun, like that's fine. Like a Black person is walking around with a gun, like you're seen as a threat. You know what I mean? Like you're seen as a threat without the gun. You know, but to see like a Black Indigenous family walking around farmland, like tending to their crops in a way where they're taking care of each other and also protecting themselves, I thought that was really wonderful. And of course, the film, it does a really great job with the suspense, the action, the thriller aspect of it all. It's incredibly well done. And the one thing I do not like is when somebody recommends a thriller to me and I'm watching, I'm an hour in and I'm like this, I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the thriller. I'm waiting for the suspense. I'm not suspended at all. I'm actually laying down. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm actually bored right now. Like, this is so... Like, I think there's a new movie on Netflix with Jason Bateman and Jude Law. And I saw the trailer of it, and I was like, something tells me this is not going to be good. Because the way they was cutting that trailer was like, they really want you to watch it. And I was like, girl, y'all doing a little too much over here. You know what I mean? Yeah. But 40 Acres is different because I feel like this film is a well-constructed political allegory, because it doesn't focus on one thing and it's just like, we're hitting the hammer on that head. We're hitting you over the head about this one thing. But it presents so many different things in the film and it makes like a cohesive piece. You know, did you feel that way when you were watching the movie?
Yes. I do think it was cohesive. I actually wish that they would have built out. I wish they would have fleshed out the post-apocalyptic state of events a bit more. Like, for example, like the Danielle, Haley, I don't know what is with me. Haley is U.S. military. I don't know. I don't know. Like, because I remember during my review, I said like, she's U.S. military, but they live in Canada. What is that about? Maybe she was U.S. military and didn't even send her son to another country to live, like to be taken care of by her father, I guess. But I do like the way they presented the whole 40 acres thing, in the sense that they presented it via Haley explaining to her kids why their farmland is important and why it's precious and why it's important for them to hold on to it. Same thing Galen was telling the kids from an indigenous perspective. So like, yes, it had to do with the story in the sense of like, because they have this land, because they have land ownership, they're okay. And they're in a better position. They don't have to beg, borrow, and steal because they have their own land. But like, for example, the cannibals weren't after them because like the cannibals being after them wasn't part of the political commentary. Like, it's just you could say they represent, I don't know, the government trying to take the land, but I don't even think it rises to that level. I like the way the politics was weaved into this. Not that there's anything wrong when something is overt. Like, I think Sinners has overt politics and did it. It's the best movie of the year. But I appreciate the way that 40 Acres did it. I think they did it well.
I do agree with you on that. And I also agree that I think the context of the film, or like how they have been affected by the pandemic, I wish that was explored a little bit more. I know that they do like the whole like the text thing in the beginning of the movie where they're like 12 years this happened, and then 2 years this happened, and then 3 years this happened. Like, that's great and all, but in my opinion, it would be better if we could kind of see things throughout the movie that influence or like give us more information. Because it's clear that this film, although there are like political aspects to the movie, when I was watching the movie, I'm like, okay, so this is like a doomsday thriller, and we are in a post-apocalyptic setting, but that's not what is the most important thing about this movie. Like, that's not the focus. The focus is on the family. The focus is on these characters. And it's not really like a family drama, so to speak, but it kind of is. You know, but it's just in the midst of this post-apocalyptic thriller. And I'm not against it. I like the movie. I would have liked some notions or like some hints more. Of course, you see like Haley talking to people over the walkie-talkie, and through their conversations, you do get some more context and more background about like, you know, certain farmers going missing. This person hasn't been called. Like, the cannibals came for this person's farm, all this stuff. Like, the fact that they have like the fence and they have like the cameras, and, you know, they only stay in touch through the walkie-talkies and everything like that. Like, I get that. I understand that. My only example I have is like Fallout, the Amazon Prime show, because it's also like a post-apocalyptic like kind of setting for the show, and it's based off of a video game, but the show does a really good job of fleshing out the world that the video game is based on and giving us these characters that are influenced by the video game world, but they're not from the video game themselves. It's just that the characters exist in the world and exist in like the TV show's canon to give us more background about like what's going on. How did America become this way? How did this happen? How are these people here? Because if you haven't watched Fallout before, it's a show on Prime Video, and basically it's set a couple of years after the U.S. has like a nuclear holocaust, so to speak. Like, the Cold War happened, but a nuke did drop on America, and so it's basically following what happens afterwards. Because people who are very affluent and like very well off, they went to go live in bunkers, and these bunkers became like these small communities, and people continue to like live normal lives in these bunkers, and the people who weren't able to get to the bunkers, they're just kind of living out in the land. You know what I mean? And there are like different sections of people that like live out in the land, and like there are different like monsters and different creatures, and then there's like a group of soldiers who basically, I think they fight like some kind of like group or organization. I don't know how to describe it essentially, but it is a really interesting show, and it's a very interesting video game, and the show does a really good job of complementing the video game and giving people who are not familiar with the video game enough context to like get into it and, you know, find interest in it. And it's not a lot of pieces of media can do that. So I do wish that 40 Acres did something like that, where like we have the family, we have the conflict within the family, but we also have some background or some hints as to what's going on outside of them. And because they're isolated, of course that would be difficult and that would be hard, but like,
but it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll get new somehow. You know?
Yeah.
Like, we can have conversations.
Because they did use the storytelling device of flashbacks at a certain point during the movie. Like, it could have been that, or it could have been like using the radio. Like, maybe Haley tunes into some other family who's talking about something that helps give us the bigger picture of the world. It was possible, even using some of the things that the movie already used, like flashbacks on the radio and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
But I do want to talk about the cannibals just real quick, because when they brought up the cannibals, I was like, that makes so much sense. Because yes, farmland is the most like valuable thing, So if you're someone who doesn't have farmland, what you could easily do is like join a commune, like join a group, work together with people. But there are those people that they're just kind of out for themselves. And they have this like survival of the fittest ideology where they'll do whatever it takes to survive. And they're willing to like erase any kind of lines of morality in order to protect themselves and in order to make sure that they survive. And it's not a coincidence that like all the cannibals are white men that look like they've been on Duck Dynasty. Like, girl, I picked up on it. I see what you're doing here. And the thing is, like, the cannibals are not like some random mob. They're an organized militia. And it feels very Proud Boys. Like, you know what I mean? It's giving that. Like, oh, they're just like a group of like, people on the far right. Like, you don't have to worry about them. And then suddenly they're marching through Charlottesville, girl. A horde of them. How? So, yeah. When I was seeing the cannibals, I was very much like, ooh, girl, you need to be careful. Because even when they were, like, going to check on that one, I think it was, like, a storage facility, and then I saw that random man who was like, oh, I'm military. It's like, military?
Yeah.
What military, girl? What military? And, of course, it was a cannibal. And the thing is like, once again, I'm pretty sure, I think it was Manny. Because it was a while when I rewatched this, but I'm pretty sure it was Manny. Like, he saw an old lady, and he didn't shoot her dead. And then she got up and she shot his sister. Manny, don't you understand the world that we are living in?
No instincts.
Oh my gosh. You're meant to be the leader? I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, the mom knows he's not there yet, but if she pushes him enough, he'll get there. It's like, nah, girl. No.
He needs to be a follower. He's not a leader. He's a follower.
He's definitely not a leader. He's following her. He'll follow any pretty girl wherever she goes.
Yeah.
Because if he was a leader, he would have left that girl alone. Okay? Left her alone at the lake. He would have went right home. Because that is what...
She would have had to work harder to try to infiltrate the film. But like, she literally just walked in. Like, it was so easy.
Oh my gosh. Also, when he started leaving things unlocked, when he had his little like hole in the gate, I was like, Manny, don't you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on? This is fun of games. Like, people are dying.
Girl, his hormones are going to be the downfall of the family.
Literally almost was. Because what are you doing? Like, you had your mom driving all the way across wherever. And
honestly, again, we're being told Manny's so special, he's going to be the leader. When shit hit the fan and, they made it back to the farm, Manny didn't do anything that stands out. I don't remember him doing anything. I remember Galen was being like crucified.
Yeah.
And he still got up and kicked some more ass. The sister, Rain, was impressive. Mm-hmm. And then Haley, of course, was impressive. But again, I can't think of a single impressive thing Manny did during the battle on the farm.
No.
So, yeah.
I don't even know why she wanted Manny to lead. Because, like, not even Galen's leading. You're leading. Yeah. You're the leader here. I don't know. Maybe it was because, like, Galen's daughter, she was kind of like, oh, I'm good. I don't want to do that. And, like, honestly, her two younger daughters, they were very much giving, like, yeah, we'll lift up a gun, but, like, that's it.
They were too young. Yeah, they were too young.
Yeah, they were too young. Yeah. Oh, Manny. What are we going to do with you, brother? Like...
Did you think that Haley... Did at any point you thought Haley wasn't going to survive? Or Galen?
I did think Haley was going to die.
Me too.
I did.
I would have been so pissed.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking like, ooh, this movie... That would have... Honestly, if Haley did die, that would have actually... I would have liked the movie more. I maybe would have liked the movie more. Yeah.
I would have liked it less.
No. My thing is that, like, if we're in a doomsday scenario, people gotta die. I need to know the stakes are real.
Take Manny.
No.
Take Manny.
No, take the matriarch. Take Galen. I thought it was over for Galen.
I thought it was over for Galen, too. I'm glad he also didn't die.
Oh, my gosh. Like...
I'm just like, we have so few fighters in this damn movie. You can't
Oh, gosh.
Especially because everything was Manny's fault. Don't punish Manny for that. I was so happy when she started hopping down them steps.
Okay, so there was another question I had for you. I meant to ask this earlier, but I think I ended up asking something different. Or I ended up saying something different. But, like, I love the fact that it's, like, a Black Indigenous family. I do wish that we did learn more about Galen. I think you brought this up earlier. But I do wish you learned a little bit more about Galen. I think that he did, like, give some interesting, like, background into, like, his story, his heritage, you know, his tribe. And I thought that was really awesome and really great. But I do wish we just, like, got to know a little bit more about him. And I think that the movie spent so much time trying to flesh out Manny's character and his, like, romance with that girl, where it was like, now we're wasting precious time. You know what I mean? Like, we're wasting precious time. You know, but I did want to say, I love that it's a Black Indigenous family because, as of late, I feel like this happens every so often on TikTok. You know, the Black diaspora loves to come together and act like, oh, we only need to worry about Black issues. Everyone else can worry about themselves. Mm-hmm. And when you look at political action, when you look at, you know, any kinds of solidarity in terms of, like, you know, Black people in their movements, there's always room for other groups. Like, there's always room for, like, Asian Americans. There's always room for, like, Hispanic people. There's always room for, like, Palestinians. Like, there's always room in the coalition because all of our struggles are the same. And I really enjoyed seeing, like, the Black family and the Indigenous family come together because I do feel like a lot of people have, like, a very isolationist, not just, like, isolationist, but, like, an individualistic view.
Like a tribal.
Yeah. When it comes to, like, any kind of political action, so to speak. Like, oh yeah, I'll participate in mutual aid. Like, I'll, like, come donate. I'll knock on doors. But, like, if you don't have my skin color, then, like, I will do it. And I feel like that's so backwards because if you look at, like, the political leaders that people love to quote but don't read their books, they were happy to collaborate with other groups, like other minority groups, because all of our struggles are the same. They're all interconnected. Like, we are all in the same struggle. And I think that this movie does a really great job of, like, showing people that, like, you know, even those families isolationists, like, we're all, you know, we're all in the same. Like, I'm basically repeating myself, but yeah.
No, it's always been, you use the right word, like, it's always been a coalition historically. Mm-hmm. And the people who say that, first of all, are online. And also, second, are people who I'm pretty sure don't do anything in real life in terms of, like, activism or community work. Because you do end up working with other people and with people who are either people who literally are advocating for something different from you, but it's still in line. There's still some synergy there. Or people who are, you know, different ethnicities. Like, even if those people weren't, like, part of the movement in terms of, like, they're in your personal club, maybe they have their own club, like, you know, their own activism, you have yours, but you see the parallels, and then you will meet up for something very specific. Mm-hmm. You'll combine your powers for something very specific. In the case of this movie, they combined their powers to survive. And yes, there was love. I wish we had seen more of it. And they were actually a family, mm-hmm. but they were surviving together, which is, for these two groups, but especially for Indigenous people, is a hard thing to come by in entertainment, in the entertainment world. That representation is few and far between.
Yeah, and I do love that there was the inclusion of, like, the Indigenous family and also Indigenous actors, because Indigenous representation, although it's on the rise with, like, reservation dogs, with Dark Winds, I want more. You know, like, we need more, especially Dark Winds. Such a good show. I found. Huh? Have you watched it?
I've never heard of it.
Okay, Dark Winds. So it's a show on AMC, but I found it on Netflix, and it's essentially about, like, this community in, I think, Arizona, and they have, like, their police, but then I think they also have, like, the tribal police, where it's all Native Americans that build up this police force, and they investigate crimes alongside the police department. It's either tribal police, like they're a different police, or they are the police. I might be confusing the details, but essentially, it's just, like, a crime, but also, like, a mystery thriller, and it's so good. It's also, I think it's set in the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things about it. The first season is about a bank robbery, and they think that like the people who robbed the bank are connected to like this small like indigenous community, and of course like you have like the chief of police who like has like, you know, he's not a dark man, but like he's a sad man who has like, you know, a haunting past, but he still does his job because that's the only thing he knows how to do. There's a young, spry female detective who's hungry, who wants to go for it, but like she keeps getting sidelined. And then there's another detective where he is indigenous, but he's kind of like, you know, the whitewashed indigenous person. Because like you always need like one person there, and it's like everybody look at him like, who brought him here? Like, you know, it's like that. But essentially they're like the trio that's trying to like figure out this bank robbery. There are 2 seasons on Netflix. There are 3 seasons though, and it was renewed for a 4th season. But I don't know if the 3rd season is on Netflix. I don't think not yet. But it's very, very good, and I do recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it so much. But I was just gonna say something about what you mentioned about like activism and community. How like, you know, when people say those things online, like, oh, I only care about the Black struggle, like they don't actually do like activism like in real life. I feel like there are a lot of people who engage in like activism online, but like it really does take doing it in person to really understand it. And I feel like when you need to kind of like step out of your comfort zone, but not only step out of your comfort zone, but like you need to engage in it in a way where like it's not something that is put on the like cute little typography on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like you can't talk about mutual aid and you don't know your neighbors. You know what I mean? Like you need to know who the people are that you live next to. You need to know what they're going through. You need to know their struggle. Like you need to talk to the older people at your job. You know, like, if you live in a house where there are other people there and you have roommates and you talk to your roommates, you need to do dishes. Like, you have to do things you don't want to do in order to really, like, participate in, like, community and in activism. Because when you really, like, step out of, like, where you are in the small bubble that you've created, then you'll realize that, like, there are so many people with so many different backgrounds that all need the same thing that you need. So it will open your eyes to see that, like, hey, it's not just a one-way street, you know. It's a spaghetti junction. That's a weird analogy, but like, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about that when I was rewatching the movie because, when people were talking about like the genocide in Gaza, there were so many like there are some Black creators online who are like, oh well, were these people speaking up during like Black Lives Matter? And I'm just like, you.
And the answer was yes.
The answer was yes. They were painting murals. Okay. I feel like people don't understand that, like, we live in a world where there are, like, companies that are literally built off the backs of, like, exploitation of labor. Like, there are companies that are built in the hopes that people stay poor forever. And it's not just, like, Black people staying poor. It's so many people that stay poor. But in the way that they make their money, it's in these, like, terrible, like, immoral ways. And one of the ways that a lot of these people make money is, like, testing out, like, drones and, like, bombs in Gaza. And, like, these companies that do it, like, they fund different things. Like, I know that in Atlanta, there was a cop city built. And the same people that train, like, certain cops in, like, there, I think... This, like, I don't know, I read this somewhere that, like, the IDF train NYPD officers and stuff like that. Like, when people really tap in and you look at what's going on around you and you go beyond the surface of what you think you know, you'll understand that, like, this is an interconnected struggle and it does not end until we all come together and we say, like, no, you know, like, I'm not doing this.
I agree that it is interconnected. At the same time, I also think that, like, more Black people know that it's interconnected than do other people of color. You know what I mean? Like in the case of Palestine, yes, there were Palestinians who supported Black Lives Matter, and there's a long history of partnership between Black American activist leaders and Palestinians. Long history, as I learned. after the October 7th attack. And especially online, and I know, especially online and in real life, like, I know and I have seen that, like, one thing that got on my nerves was to see, like, no one's free until all of us are free. That phrase, people use it in terms of, for Palestinians. And I agree. Also, I'm like, if you believe that when it came to Black people, we wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? So I think that a lot of other groups of color tend to see these injustices, especially in America, as just like things that happen to Black people. And I know there's a history of activism in the Asian communities and stuff like that, going back to the 60s and stuff, and in Mexican American communities. And at the same time, I don't know where, well, I won't say that. I was going to say I don't know where that tradition has gone. But I think people tend to be, speaking of isolationism, the younger generation, I think it's more like you'll see the younger Black generation of all ethnicities being like, we are interconnected, and these other groups not so much repeating the same thing. And speaking in general.
Yeah, I do see what you mean. And, I just today saw like 2 videos on my timeline on TikTok where a woman was talking about how her father was like taken into an unmarked van. And I remember when like the ICE raids were like really ramping up, and there were people saying like, well, like, why? I know that like there are times where like Black people have had experiences where Hispanic people are racist to them, and I've had that experience as well. Like I've heard a Hispanic guy say the N-word once or twice, and although that happens, it is all connected, because like here in Atlanta, there was a rise of employment offers to join the APD, and there was a rise of like commercials and advertisements and billboards trying to get people like join the APD, join the police department, join the police force, like get like all these benefits, all this stuff. And because they're trying to hire people and trying to bring in more people, it was like this push to like fund the police more. And this was happening like in the midst of 2020, like in the midst of the protests. And then after that, Cop City happened, where like millions and millions of dollars went towards tearing down trees in a forest that was, first of all, indigenous land. Second of all, just next to a neighborhood full of Black people, full of Black residents. And you want to build this, training ground for, yes, firemen and like policemen, but it's deemed Cop City for a reason. Like Coca-Cola is funding like this whole training ground for you to create a more militarized police force. And now we're seeing an increase of funding towards ICE. So this is all connected. Like when people talked about defunding the police, and there are people who are like, oh, well, you need the police for this, you need the police for that. The police collaborate with ICE, immigration, customs, like these people work together. You want to act like you don't care when Black people get shot by the police, but then people care when like people are getting deported. And I also want to say like these ICE raids, they don't care if you're Hispanic or not. Like, they're not checking for ethnicity. They say Venezuelan. They don't mean Venezuelan, like, purely you. Like, Hispanic, migrant, they're taking you. And also, like, they're coming for Black immigrants as well. Because, like, although Trump wants to say all these things about Haitians, and, like, me, I'm Haitian American, he does not mean Haitian. He's not checking your status to see if you're Haitian. Or, like, they're taking Black people. You know what I mean? It's a general idea. Like, it's non-white. You know what I mean? Like, this is something where, like, this is what I was talking about earlier. Like, people are looking at what's happening in the news, and they're acting like this is all happening in a vacuum. Like, oh, this happened out of nowhere. Like, oh my gosh, this is just such a surprise. Like, oh my gosh, like, girl, this is happening for years. It is a pattern of something they've been putting in place for years. And now it's ramping up.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah, like, you can't ignore it now.
And people who are like, how did we get here? I don't recognize this America. That's what I mean when I say, like, yes, Black people tend to see that, like, this is all interconnected, but other groups of people tend to not see that. And so then here they are now, their faces cracked, talking about how did we get here? I don't recognize this country, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I recognize this country.
I recognize it. Very well. Okay. Like, maybe if we were, a little more... I don't want to say too much because, like, also Atlanta has, like, a Democratic mayor who they're trying to do a lot in this. They're trying to do a lot in this city, but it's so blatantly obvious. And like in watching 40 Acres and seeing the family, I feel like 40 Acres feels a lot more realistic in terms of an apocalypse thriller, because when Trump first got elected, people were talking about, oh, buy like portable batteries, like buy books where you can make like herbal medicines, like buy seeds so you can grow food. Like when things go down, like the right in their mind feel like when the proletariat will rise up, it's going to be a civil war. It's going to be a race war. And the proletariat, so to speak, are busy trying to learn how to garden and learn how to organize mutual aid. Like, we're trying to learn how to take care of ourselves. We're not interested in going to bat, like, with the National Guard, so to speak. Like, Trump wants to go, like, full force, like, Hitler, and people are trying to be on, like, their, little house on the prairie. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to sustain ourselves, so to speak. And could that also include, like, having something on you to protect you in case something happens? Yes, but the main focus is, like, taking care of yourself and taking care of one another. And I really enjoyed this movie because of that, because I do get tired of, like, doomsday thrillers that are, like, like Civil War. Like Alex Garland's Civil War.
I hated Civil War.
Oh my gosh. When he was like, California and Texas come together, I was like, sir, never gonna happen.
You want to talk about not giving background?
Unrealistic.
I hated that movie.
How would that happen? Gavin Newsom and Greg Abbott?
I also hated, another thing I hated about Civil War, not to get completely off topic, is that, like, when I went to read what was Alex Garland's purpose, he was like, this isn't commentary on anybody. Nothing's meant to represent anything from real life. I'm like, that's cowardly. So you're basically like giving us trauma porn for no reason at all. So you don't really have anything to say. I don't buy that. I didn't like that movie at all.
So what you're saying is that you want to make a political
movie,
and then not do any research in terms of the political framework in which this movie is going to be based in, or the political background of the country that this movie is based in. You just want to do fan fiction. That's what's going on.
I'm like, this is so white man. Like only a white man would make such a political movie, but also not a political movie.
Yeah. It's a political movie, but we're not making any political statements.
Yeah, right. That was basically it. We're not making a political statement.
And he only did that to cover his back, because when he was writing this, he wasn't really doing no research, no background, no knowledge, nothing. It's just vibes. He's just writing this together. He's like, I'm going to put this together, and then it's going to be a commentary on, like, journalism.
Journalist.
The worst commentary journalism I've ever seen. You want a commentary on journalism? Watch The French Dispatch. Like, any other movie besides Civil War.
But I'm also like, it wasn't a good
journalist
movie, because the journalists looked more like, I think I said, like, violent tourists. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't think he did a good job with the journalists either, in the way he portrayed them in that movie.
That movie was so boring, so poorly written. Like, the ending, I felt like was so... It made me want to roll my eyes. Like, Kaylee, like, get out of that movie, girl. Come on. Like, Jesse Plemons' part in the film was the only interesting part.
Yeah,
this is the only part that actually had something to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, journalists take their jobs very seriously, and they bear the weight and the brunt of having to report the news and report what's going on. But when you have somebody just writing, like, a civil war, a states war, like, fan fiction, because you think America's so divided, and yet you don't want to do any research onto, like, why America's divided. How did that come to be? What's the background of this? Where have we seen this before? Like, it's just
not grounded in anything. It wasn't grounded in anything.
No. Not any research, not any background, not any facts, nothing. It's just assumptions. It's stupid. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Alex Garland, he really fell off after Ex Machina. Like...
I don't know. I never watched... That might have been the first and only movie I watched from him.
Civil War?
Which was not a great introduction. Yeah.
You should watch his previous films, because they are better.
Okay.
Also, didn't he have another movie, Warfare?
I wouldn't know.
Someone tell that man stop playing in this playground. This is not your sandbox. This is not your sandbox. You don't go here. Like, literally, like, do something in your own country. You know what I mean? Like,
that's my thing as well. Because I forgot that what's his
he's British.
His what?
He's British.
Yeah, that was another irritating thing. I'm like, so you're gonna talk about American politics, and then not only do you not want to stand in whatever it is that you're trying to say, but also you're not American, which I don't know if he lives in America. Maybe he does. So I'm like, everything about this is wrong.
I want to say, like, Stephen McQueen, he is a British filmmaker, and he has made films. He made, a short documentary series, a docuseries with Amazon Prime called Small Acts, and that, I believe, is based in American politics. Like, you can be someone from outside of this country, outside of America, and make a film that is a critique on American politics, as long as you do it well, as long as you do it right. But if you want to make a film about American politics and not know anything about American politics, not do any background, not do any research, not get any, like, factual information that grounds the thesis of your film, and you just want to make the movie you want to make, then, like, girl, why are you wasting our time? It's, like, once again, it's like one of those movies where, like, this is a political allegory, but it's not really saying anything. Just a lot of things happening.
It's just a lot of things happening. Exactly. It's just gore, and that's it.
Oh my gosh! When all these people were hyping up that movie, I was like, y'all are lying. And then Warfare, that movie he had with all them young boys in the cast, and then they were doing that whole, like, press tour, and it was, like, all cutesy. Like, y'all are doing this press tour like you're doing a coming of age film. Like, this is a war movie.
That was the Iraq.
The Iraq movie. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was his next movie after Civil War. When I saw the commercial, I'm like, I'm not going to see that crap. Like, not only was Civil War bad, but this is your next project? No.
I want to know who's giving him these books on wars. Who's giving him these books on wars? Like, I know that Christopher Nolan got a book on, like, Oppenheimer, and that's what influenced him to make his movie. But, like, someone needs to give this man something else to do. Something else to do. Alex Garland, please. Like, go back to critiquing technology. Like, there's so much happening in the world of tech right now. Like, you could make so much. You could just make so much. You could just make so much better than this. Please, leave the war movies alone. That's not your thing. That's not your niche. Okay. We have strayed from the point. Alright. Do you have any, last remarks or any final thoughts in regards to 40 Acres?
Honestly, my final thought about 40 Acres is that I want to see Danielle Deadwyler in more thrillers. I haven't seen her movie, The Woman in the Yard or something like that.
Yeah, The Woman in the Yard.
I want to see her in more movies like this because I think she's really good at it.
Yeah.
And 40 Acres, like I said, if for whatever reason you listen to this episode and you still haven't watched this movie, I recommend it. I think it's good. It has its weaknesses, which is true of most movies. But I don't know. I think it was great.
I agree. I do want more Black women in thrillers, and I'm so tired of Halle Berry being the only person that's continually casted in, like, thrillers and, like, action movies, because they're not even good, so I'll even be watching them. You know what I mean? Like,
she was in Never Let Go, which was not a good movie.
She recently was in a movie with Mark Wahlberg. Michael.
Oh, I didn't go see that because of Mark Wahlberg. In the helicopter or whatever.
Was it in the helicopter?
Yeah.
I think it was on Netflix. I think it was a Netflix movie.
But they're like in some kind of rescue plane or helicopter, whatever. I don't
know. The last thriller, like, there have been a couple thrillers I've seen where Black women are at the helm. Like, one was Proud Mary with Taraji P. Henson, which I did like, and I feel like y'all let me do it. If you let me be the script doctor in that film, I would have fixed that. I would have fixed that up. Like, that would have been Black woman, John Wick. Like, I could have written that better. I could have. But I feel like that movie, they were trying to make her into, like, a motherly figure and then also, like, into a badass, and I was like, we don't have to do both. And then another movie a thriller I watched where a Black woman was at the helm was when Gabrielle Union and her family were, like, in a home invasion, and there were all these men trying to get her, and her dad was, like, ex-FBI, ex-military, and so she knew how to, like, fight, and she was taking all these men down. I don't remember exactly what it was. That movie came out a while ago.
Yeah, I feel like I remember the trailer for that movie, but I don't think I ever watched it.
I I think I did watch it. I liked the movie. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes you watch a movie, you're just like, I'm not here to be.
I think it was called Breaking In.
Yeah, because there are those movies you watch and you're like, this is not gonna be like the most monumental film to ever come out of this year, but I'm gonna watch it because I know I'm gonna have a good time. You know, because you need those movies, and that's why I watched it. Because I was watching, and I was like, I'm having a good time with this one. This is great. And there was also, what was it? G20. The movie that Viola Davis was in.
I did watch G20. Lord Jesus.
I'm not gonna lie. After what was that movie she was in? What was that?
Woman King?
The Woman King. After she was in The Woman King, I was like, oh, she got a hit of that. When she got them arms, she was like, you know what? This is my thing right now. This is what I'm doing.
I do want more older Black women in action movies and thrillers. Viola Davis, in terms of like, I went into that movie worried about like, how are they going to shoot it? Where they're going to put her in the dark so that, switch out with her stunt double. They did a good job showing her actually fighting, but her character was so poorly written. The movie was so weak. Like, yeah, great idea, but the execution was not good. There was also the one with Kerry Washington, which was...
Kerry Washington and that actor from... That French actor, he was in it.
Yeah. Terrible movie.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw that wig she was in, and I was like, okay. Now we gotta wrap it up, because after 6 seasons on ABC, with a pristine weave, y'all get back on this? Take this back to the beauty supply store. What are we doing here? What's going on?
Her acting was not good in that movie. It was terrible.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there are times where I watch other projects that Kerry Washington is in, and I'm like, it's not you, girl. It's not you. It's not you. Because I've seen the material. I've seen a lot of things Kerry Washington is in. Like, I watch a lot of the things that are in her filmography. And, like, if I'm watching something and, like, she seems, like, really awkward or, like, kind of stunted in her acting, I'm like, okay, something's wrong with the writing. This team don't know how to write for a superstar, obviously. Because...
I mean, the script was trash.
Yeah.
So
also,
I guess she didn't bother rising above it. Like there was no material for her to work with.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there are times where like actors or actresses, they get like certain projects that like come across their desk and they're like, you know what, the script may not be good, but this will get my body right. So.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because the movie, I think that was flying around, like, different islands. I'm sure they were filming in Jamaica at one point. She was like, free vacation. I'm taking it. Like, I know they were paying her a hefty sum. Because the actor that was playing opposite of her, he was on this show on Netflix called Lupin, but it's not like a big show. You know what I mean? And that's Kerry Washington. So, she was like, hey, I'm going to get this check. I'm going to look right, and I'm going to be in Jamaica. I don't care. So, yeah. But I do want more Black women in thrillers. And the thing is, I love Danielle Deadwyler. Because her filmography is so... There's so much variety in her filmography. There are so many different things she's done. Like, she was also in another movie. I don't remember what the film was about. But it was kind of like this, like this movie where, like, she kind of went through this forest. And she went through a different, like, time. She went through, like, a different portal. Or something like that.
I haven't seen that.
I saw a commercial for it, and I didn't get the chance to go see it when it was out in theaters. I think it might be on Hulu, because for some reason, all the, like, hidden indie gems end up on Hulu, but I had to find it later and, like, look on her IMDb and see where it is so I can watch it later. But Danielle Deadwyler has done a really great job of picking out interesting projects that are so different and that are so diverse, and she doesn't fall into, like, a certain niche. You know, she has been able to, like, pick a different array of, like, genres to play in, and it just shows her range. And she is such an incredible actress. It's very clear that she goes after roles where, like, which role is going to challenge me? Which role is something that's different than what I've done before? Which role is going to put me in a different, mindset or a different character that I haven't played before, and I want to explore that. And I love that in an actor or an actress. I love seeing somebody who wants to challenge themselves and do something different and wants to do something unique and not like simply chasing fame or chasing notoriety, but chasing, like, a different way of just, like, honing their craft. So I I am excited to see what Danielle Deadwyler is going to do next. I do want to see more Black women in thrillers. But, you know, I want them to be good. I want them to be well-written, strong thrillers. And, you know, if it's just like a comfy action movie that's just meant to be the movie of the summer or something to just put on, then that's fine. That's fine. But quality thrillers, like, that's what I want to see more of. Because I love a political thriller. I love an action thriller. I love a suspenseful film. And I'm very picky. Like, I know that there are certain people that, like, are kind of picky with what they want, what they like, and there are certain directors they only go by, but, like, there are so many different aspects of a thriller that, like, you have to get right tonally, and then in the writing, and in the composition, and then in the acting, you know, and it has to all come together. And I feel like 40 Acres, you know, not everything about 40 Acres is perfect, but altogether, I feel like it's a very cohesive film that's very strong and very interesting, and it does stand out from the typical films that fall into the Doomsday thriller, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yes. So, guys, highly recommend you go rewatch 40 Acres, because you should not have gone to the end of this podcast. You didn't watch that movie. We spoiled so much for you.
Yes.
Yes. But, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap up the episode, and we're going to go to Watch List, which is the last segment of the podcast where we talk about movies and TV shows that we have watched, that we're excited to watch, things that we have already seen, things we're planning on seeing. And one movie that I watched recently was Weapons. Very interesting film. I remember when the trailer was first... I remember when I first saw the trailer, I think I was watching a different movie. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I love when I see a trailer for a movie, and I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm like, yeah. You're gonna see me, AMC. Get ready, you're gonna see me there. It was so good. I feel like a lot of people have different opinions about Weapons. I think it was really, really great. I'm not gonna say it's the best horror film of the year. I will say it is one of the best. The best horror film of the year is Sinners. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And no other movie will top it
by a long shot.
Oh yeah. But Weapons was very, very good. I think it was a really strong film. I think it says a lot about, like, isolationism, community, addiction. Some people are saying, like, oh, it says something about, like, school shootings, which, like, I also feel like it is an allegory for school shootings. But one thing I like about the movie is that Zach Kreger, the director and the writer, he said that he didn't have, like, a specific message when he was, like, writing the film. It was just something he wrote because he lost a friend of his, Trevor Moore, who was in a band that he was in. And this film was just a way for him to kind of, like, mourn and kind of, like, move past the loss of his friend. And I like that better. I just like it when a movie, like, it doesn't have a distinct message from a director. So you can kind of just gleam or, like, analyze it however you want. And I think that's a lot more fun. So
not for me. I think it's lazy. I think it's lazy. It actually, like, him saying that actually reminded me of freaking Civil War. I'm like,
no.
How are you literally gonna flash an AR-15 or whatever that automatic weapon is?
The AR-15.
And then be like, it doesn't really have anything to do with that.
The AR-15 was so random, by the way. When I saw that, I was like, oh, so this is about school shootings. Okay. Because what else are we supposed to glean from that? Because, by the way, that character didn't even have a gun.
And the child narrator, I'm like, okay,
the child narrator is like, this happened in my town. It's happened in other towns, too. And I was like, right.
Hello.
Shootings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And only for him to be like, nah, I was just working through my shit. I don't care what people take from this. I'm like, no.
It's so funny, like, I was literally just dogging Alex Garland about Civil War, and here I am, like, just praising Zach Kreger for doing almost the same thing. But the thing is, Weapons is a good movie. Civil War is not.
Civil War is not.
No.
Weapons is absolutely better than Civil War. I was disappointed by it ultimately, because it was a very exciting. It's another one, like, it was very exciting. Even the climax was incredible. And what I had said in my review was that I think Weapons can teach other movies a lot about suspense and using some, like, you know, the way they use darkness in the movie, the way they structured the story, like. But as far as, like, writing a tight story, I think they could learn a lot from other movies, particularly the best of them all, which is Sinners. Like, I wasn't, like, I felt strangely empty after Weapons. I'm like, something's missing, which is why I even went to go look at what was Zach Krieger's intentions. Because I don't usually go look at what the director meant to do unless I feel like something's missing. I'm missing something. And turns out what I was missing was the fact that, like, he ain't had a message at all. He ain't had a message at all. He just wanted to, you know.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, and I do agree. I feel like because I was such a huge fan of Barbarian, which was his previous movie, I'm like, I'm in the Zach Krieger boat. You know what I mean? I'm in there. I hopped in. I'm ready. I got my oar. I'm ready to row down the river with you, Zach Krieger. Like, I think he's a good director. I think he's a very strong writer. And you are right. Like, Weapons can teach a lot of people about suspense. As in, like, suspense is something you build. It's not something you build. It's not something you write. But you have to do it intentionally. Because at every moment in Weapons, like when the camera pans a certain way, or when there are long stretches of silence, you're literally sitting at the edge of your seat like, what's about to happen? What's about to go down? You know,
or even like that one scene where, like, the crackhead, who was my favorite character, James, is trying to get out of the house. Like, the cinematography, like the directional choices that Zach made. In terms of, like, when he's opening the door and the camera's like bouncing with, like, that's incredible. Yes, that is great. Craftsmanship, workmanship. I think he is a very good writer, which is why I don't believe his ass when he's like, this doesn't really mean anything. I'm like, don't play with me. Like, you're like, yeah. And I love Barbarian, and I don't think Weapons holds a candle to Barbarian.
Yeah, I really did like Barbarian too. And also, I feel like as someone who exists in, like, the media review space, like movie review space, there are times where people will, like, give an opinion and they'll be like, this movie's the best movie of the year, or like, oh, this movie flopped, or like, this movie is that good, or like, this movie is overhyped. Like, I am someone where I'm like, I'm just going to watch the movie and I'm going to give my opinion. Like, I'm going to draw an opinion for myself. Because, like, although, you know, like, you and many other people that I follow do review movies, I will take the opinion to heart. But in the day, it's like, if I want to go see this movie, I'm going to go see this movie. You know? Like, I'm going to, like, figure out what I like about the movie. Because there are many times where, like, you know, people from branded outlets, like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, they will kiss the feet of that director. And I'll go see that movie, and I'm like, this director absolutely flopped. This director phoned it in so hard. Like, this movie was, you know what I mean? Like, not worth my time.
Or they'll do the opposite. Like, they're good. Like, Variety is a repeat offender. In terms of, like, for example, I don't know if you watch. I think you watch Marvel movies, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, well, I don't know how you felt about the Marvels, but like they'll pan a movie. Or Variety did this with Sinners, where they're like, can Sinners make back the money? Instead of, like, it's like they're taking shots at the movie. Meanwhile, it's an incredible movie. So yeah, and that's why, like, with my reviews, I rarely tell people whether or not to go see a movie. Like, I don't do recommendations. I just review the movie. If you're gonna go see it, you're gonna go see it. If you're not, which is how I am. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I take the same approach. Like, I just review it. I don't tell people go see it or don't. I will say, like, if you want to go see it, like, I just reviewed Love, Brooklyn. I'll say, if you want to go see it, go, because it's not. It's very limited. But, like, I rarely say don't go see a movie, or go see a movie. Yeah.
The lead actor in that is Andre Holland, right?
Yes, and he's also a producer.
Okay. I love that he's been focusing on making, like, black love film, like black love stories, because something that I've noticed, and I don't know how to measure this, but I'm gonna, like, write it on Substack or something like that. Whenever you see a couple in a movie and one of the partners is black, the other partner is always white. And this happens repeatedly. Like, repeatedly. There are only interracial or white couples, but there are no black couples unless it's a black love story. Now, why is that? Put on my dashiki hat. Someone tell me.
No, I mean, honestly, put on another dashiki. Put on another hat, because it's like, and then when it is a black couple, the man's gonna be dark and the woman's gonna be light. Like our boy Manny, in 40 Acres. Yeah, usually if you're gonna see a dark-skinned woman representation, she's gonna be with a white man, which like I don't know.
I remember because I was watching Life of Chuck and I saw how do you say his name? Chiwetel? I think it's his name.
Chiwetel, yeah.
Yeah. I was watching it and his wife or his ex is Karen Gillan, and I was like, your wife is Karen Gillan? I don't see, right? But I was like, never mind. Let me leave that alone. But that happens so often. Like, now that I've noticed it, I keep seeing it in so many movies. Like, especially ones that come out recently. Like, there are only interracial couples. And, like, no hate to interracial couples, but, like, where's the black love? You know what I mean? Like, does it have to be specifically in a black movie? What's going on? Like,
yeah.
Even in Sinners, the black love couple doesn't last. They both die.
Oh.
It's not fair. Yeah, okay. Oh. What was I also going to say? Another movie I am looking forward to seeing, Highest to Lowest, because it's Spike Lee's newest film. I'm going to be honest. I watch Spike Lee movies just out of, respect. A lot of the times, I'm not, like, the biggest Spike Lee fan, but I watch it out of respect. Now, if anybody ever says they don't like Spike Lee movies and they're not black, I'm putting their feet to the fire. Because usually, Spike Lee's the only black director they watch. Now it's Ryan Coogler, because, he made Sinners. But, like,
Or Jordan Peele.
Yeah. But press them on naming another black director. They can't. Yeah. If they remember how to say Nia DaCosta, then maybe. But, like, y'all only watch Marvels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't watch any further movies. Also, she has another movie coming out with Tessa Thompson. It just premiered at TIFF. I don't remember the title of it, but I know it's like...
Hedda or something.
It's Hedda. Yeah, it's Hedda.
Okay.
I'm interested in it. I feel like it's going to be a very interesting movie, and I'm excited to see her next film, away from Marvel, because I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be great. And I think this was the movie that she was working on, where she had to, like, kind of step away from production with Marvel's, because, she... Like, Variety read this article, like, Nia DaCosta abandoned her production. It's like, no, Marvel's ran long, and she had another movie she was committed to doing, so she had to leave, because when you do a Marvel movie as a director, it's not your movie, it's a Marvel movie. So, like, you do your thing, and then Marvel comes in, and then they do their thing. So at a certain point, like, you don't really need to be there, because they step in and do their thing. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows that. Like, if you've seen, like, any Marvel or any behind the scenes of a Marvel movie, like, the machine steps in and they're like, okay, so now we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do that. Like, that's just how they operate. That's how they've, I think for a while, always operated. So, yeah. But, yes. I'm excited to see Hedda, Highest to Lowest. I'm interested in seeing that.
I'll wait to see. Are you going to review it?
I am going to review it.
I'm interested to see what you think of it. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Because, like, I feel like Denzel Washington, great actor. A$AP Rocky, he's one of those musicians that is a rapper, that is an actor, but, like, there are times where I'm like,
what else has he been on? And
he's been in a couple other things, but the other things that he's been in, it's not really, like, acting. It's like,
he's just playing himself.
A$AP Rocky's there. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see, like, what kind of direction his character's going to be, like, where we're going to go with his character. And then also The Long Walk, because people were talking about it on my timeline, so I need to go see it before someone spoils it for me. I think there have been some spoilers already, but I'm trying to force myself to forget them so that I can see it. And also, it's an hour, 48 minutes. I'm going to be in and out of that movie. Yeah. I'm going to be in and out, so...
The Long Walk was on my list, but I ultimately didn't go see it because I needed to. I had too much going on. I didn't go see it.
I think it's going to be in theaters for a while, but also Weapons is on VOD and it's still in theaters. So, I think you'll still have a chance to see it. Highest to Lowest, I need to go watch it because I know it's going to be on Apple TV soon, and I have Apple TV.
It already is.
Okay, it is?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to try and press myself to see it in theaters because there are times where, like, I'm like, I'll just watch it at home. But when I'm at home, I'm like, this would be so much better in the theater. I want to see it on the biggest screen possible. you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I also saw the Demon Slayer movie because I'm not a huge anime head. I only just got into anime last year. So, but my brother, like, Demon Slayer was the first anime I actually watched. And I love it. And the movie was very, very good. I think some people went to go see Demon Slayer, but they don't know anything about Demon Slayer, like the anime. Which I have to say, like, I mean, fine, but also you won't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you won't get, like, this is something that we've been waiting for. Like, I'm waiting for this. You know what I mean? But amazing movie, incredible movie. Also, like, literally sold out everywhere. Like, when I say everywhere, I was trying to get tickets, like, September 9th was, like, advance. And, like, the day that the link was open on Crunchyroll, I went to go click to order tickets. There were 6 seats left at my local theater. And I clicked on the tickets. I clicked on the selection. I was trying to get them. And they're like, oops, not available. And I was like, huh? What? And also the day I went to go see it, I went with my brother. There were people in our seats. And I was like, I'm so sorry. These are our seats? Like, I hate to do that to people, but, like, you see everybody sitting up in this theater. You see people standing on the stairs. Like, I paid for these tickets. Yeah. I got the number right here. Like, I'm so sorry. I need you these are our seats. And, like, oh, well, there are people sitting in our seats. I'm like, yeah, these are our seats? It's like, girl, don't make me stand up here too long. The movie's right behind me. Like, we gotta go.
Ask them to get up.
You gotta go. Yeah, but Demon Slayer, Infinity Castle, so incredible, so good. I also have a review brewing my brain about that because there's going to be a live action adaptation of My Hero Academia, which is also a popular anime. And, you know, Netflix, when they see a popular anime, they're like, they're ready. You know, they're ready to just cast, I don't know, whatever white boy they have on their roster to be the lead. So, yeah. But that's my watch list that went on. What are you excited to watch, or what have you watched recently, Alta?
So, yes. So I've started watching movies for my October Scaries. What do I call it? Every year, this is going to be the 3rd year. In 2023, I started a watch-a-thon in October called October Scaries, where I watch horror movies / thrillers that I've never seen before. So I'm doing 13. I started yesterday so that, you know, I have enough time to watch 13 movies. So yesterday I watched Bring Her Back, which I wanted to see earlier this year. I didn't get a chance to. And it was really, really, really good. It's an Australian horror thriller movie. It was really good. I want to go see him. I might go after we're done recording, but I don't know. I'll see. If not, I'm going to go see it tomorrow. I already saw one spoiler-free review that said it was sloppy. So I'm like, ooh. So we'll see.
I'm not going to lie. When I saw the trailer when it first dropped, I was like, oh, interesting. This piqued my interest. But as the trailers kept coming and, like, the things kept changing in the trailer, I was like, hold on. There are too many things changing in here, which means y'all got a little too much to work with.
This is why I tend to just watch the first trailer, especially if I'm reviewing.
Yeah.
I watch the first trailer so that by the time it comes out, I forget what I saw. But also him, pretty much, because I go to the movies a lot, I'll see the trailers over and over. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The Man in My Basement is another movie that I want to see. It was I think it's in theaters, but very few, like, select theaters. So I'm waiting for it to come out on Hulu. I know folks are, like, canceling Hulu right now. But I'm waiting for it to come out so I can watch it. It's a Black-led horror thriller. I think it's a thriller. Black-led. Black man is the lead. So I'm excited to see that. And then One Battle After Another is another movie that's on my list for this month, outside of my horror watch list that I'm doing for my Halloween series. So,
okay, The Man in My Basement. I actually saw the trailer for this the other day, and there are early reviews for this one. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh,
click away!
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, when you see those early reviews, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to see it anymore. Because, like, you know, also, going to movies is expensive. People don't have time no more. Like, everybody wants to watch the best thing. And, like, you know, everybody wants to be a critic. But, like, you know, it's tough when you're trying to, like, figure out what movie to watch. You see new movies come out, and you're like, I'm just going to give it a chance. Also, the lead actor, he is a really good actor. Corey Hawkins.
I don't know. What's the last thing I saw him in? Oh, he was in The Walking Dead.
He was in The Walking Dead. He was in The Heights as well. He was in that
Lin-Manuel Miranda's movie.
Huh?
Lin-Manuel Miranda's like the musical and
the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, not the musical. I know.
Isn't it also a musical?
Well, yeah, it's a musical. It was first a musical.
Yeah,
they made a movie out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. He was also in The Piano Lesson, which is a movie that
I haven't seen that yet. Danielle Deadwyler is also in that.
Oh yeah, she is. Danielle.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, Josh David Washington is in this.
John. John.
I always say Josh. John David Washington. Yeah. Yes. Is there anything else that you have on your watch list?
I do have a whole lot. Like my whole
Oh, you got a list.
I have 13 movies for my October Scaries list. So, but I'm gonna watch that over the course of the next movie I'm gonna watch as part of my Halloween series, which I won't start recording my reviews yet until. Well, first of all, I need to do my Halloween setup. Mm-hmm. But the next movie, so I watched Bring Her Back yesterday, which I really like. Next Wednesday, I'm going to watch Jennifer's Body, which I've never seen before. So
I watched the movie when I was way too young to understand it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard it's called classic, so I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. It's not that bad. It's very 2009s as a movie. Like, it's definitely one of those movies where you're like, oh, you can tell when this was shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like kind of dated.
It's not that it's dated. It's not that it's dated, but it's very much like, oh, if you watch this in 2009, it's like, oh my gosh, this movie's so topical. But now it's 2025. It's like, girl, what are these things? What are y'all talking about? What are these references? You know, that's yes. Alta, thank you so much for coming on the pod with me. Thank you so much for calling about 40 Acres with me. Where can people find you if they want to find you on the internet somewhere?
You can find me on Threads. You can find me on TikTok. I always post my reviews on TikTok first. You can also find me on YouTube. Unfortunately, my YouTube videos are basically like just me reposting my TikTok videos, so they're very much in vertical form. I'm hoping to change that sometime next year, but TikTok and YouTube mainly is where you can find me.
Awesome. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of I've Been Meaning to Watch That. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to check out Alta. All her links will be in the description down below. And guys, don't forget to tell your friends and family about your new favorite podcast, I've Been Meaning to Watch That. I'm your host, Manika. You can find us anywhere you are on podcasts. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Pod. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to us on YouTube. And we will see you guys next week with a new topic and a new guest like we do every single week. Bye.